Hello, everyone. As agreed, 10:30. Today is Wednesday, 30th of August, 2023. Today is a very exciting day for me because I invited Phoebe Trotman. She is an author, she's an athlete, she's an entrepreneur. She has an amazing story to share with us today. And well, this has been finally the day where she will join us in this interview. So let me invite her into our stream. Hi,
Hi,
Phoebe.
hi, Monica. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How
Good,
about
good.
you? Thank you
I'm
so much for agreeing to join us today live.
absolutely my pleasure. Well, I want to say thank you for inviting me. I mean, I remember when we connected in Calgary just a few weeks ago, and we had a great conversation. So I'm excited to continue on that conversation.
Yes. Oh, yes. It was amazing. 2,400 people or so. It was an excitement that could just feel not only. I mean, you could feel it in your body. You can feel it everywhere. It was just amazing how many people we could meet there. So many leaders. You are one of our leaders. That's. I mean, taking this invitation for me was very very nice and very exciting for me, Phoebe. So could you
Absolutely
tell
my
us a little bit about you? Because I'm so excited to hear about your story. I'm sure people who will watch us now or later the replay want to hear about you because a lot of people have been asking me about you.
Okay, where to start? I mean, it's so funny because when someone says like, "Tell me about yourself," it's like wet hat in some ways. Well, I grew up in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia and been an athlete for since I was about 5. So I started playing soccer because my older brother played, and I wanted to play as well too. So kind of followed in his footsteps, and
Mm,
I've played soccer since I was 5. I do still play. That question comes up a lot. Do you still play? And I do. I absolutely love it. And currently now, there's a lot of twists and turns, and we can circle back to that in terms of the story. But right now, I do also coach soccer. And so I run a program for kids under 4 to under 7. And I absolutely love it. It is so much fun being able to give to a sport that has given me so much in terms of on the field and off the field and a lot of life lessons.
yeah,
And as an entrepreneur, being able to kind of translate a lot of those lessons that I've learned on the field into the business world.
yeah, definitely. As I told you, I have to. My phone was going to ring. You know something? I have been. I was invited to be an athlete mother. So that's why I connected with you because I know how demanding it is. It is. It. I know how stressing it can be. I know how expensive it can be to be a parent of an athlete. Sometimes to be there on the field, I can imagine you were there very early in the morning or very late, or having to travel and buy having to buy new shoes or new equipment, and all those things are so expensive. I have two girls that play tennis, and sometimes I feel like there's not never enough money for for a new racket for a new tournament to travel to pay expenses to the trainers. It's always so difficult and demanding. So that's something that I had this appreciation for your parents because I know how difficult it must have been, and also for the athlete. It's a constant pressure, but it's also something that I think changes the person's mind. Being an athlete is something that just turns the athlete or the person into someone else. And that's something I could see and I could feel when I saw you on stage and then we later on talked. That discipline, the way even you walk, the presence you have on stage, and the presence you have just when you're walking around. I mean, you're someone that you have to look and say, okay, that person has something special, and that's
Oh,
something
thank
that
you.
you have. You must feel proud of it because that's something that only an athlete can develop, honestly. And that's why you are here today.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's a process. It's a growth process. As we know, life is about growing. And I look back at just, again, a lot of the life lessons that I've learned in athletics that have just translated into, navigating the world as an entrepreneur, as a human being, and just those dynamics because you do learn a lot in sports. You really do. It's a great
Yeah,
training
I
ground for
know.
life.
I know. I know. It's just a life learning process. And I mean, not only the discipline, but teamwork, for example. That's something that I have seen in my daughters. That uh, in the case of tennis, it's just a player sometimes, but they are with a team of players, so they have to wake up at the same time. Sometimes they are already out. I mean, they have already lost by some other kids. Continue another 3 4 days, so they have to be up at 5 or 6 o'clock to be together with the team, or to help that guy, that friend, to train or to warm up for their match. And it's the same for you. I mean, you have to be there. It doesn't matter if you are hurt, if you are not feeling well. You have to be there for the team. And that's something that I'm also seeing that we are doing in this community. That we talk about it later on. So, Phoebe, there's something that I find very interesting that you jumped into, and it is, why did you start writing? It is related with a personal issue? Is it related with just, I want to listen to you.
Yeah, the story behind the book is it's an interesting one because I've set a lot of life goals and there's a lot of things that I want to experience and have and do. And it's interesting because writing a book wasn't on that list. It really wasn't. There's a lot of people out there who just have that call in their heart to write a book. And I absolutely love that. And I wasn't necessarily that person. And so it's been an interesting process, even getting used to the idea of saying author, Phoebe, because it wasn't necessarily something. I always had a passion for helping people. I knew in my heart I wanted to create something that would inspire people. And just because I've been inspired by so many people along my journey, that I wanted to create something that could help and inspire and encourage. I really didn't know what that would look like. And I was visiting two friends, mutual friends of ours, Mike and Darren, and we were just chatting about our journey as entrepreneurs and what's next. And I was sharing this with them, that I did have, on my heart to create something to encourage and inspire. And they suggested, they're like, why don't you write a book? And I did chuckle a little bit at the idea because I've had that. Few people over the years had said, why don't you write a book? And I always kind of shied away from it for numerous reasons. And when we were chatting about it, and this is why one of the things I just want to encourage everyone watching, make sure you surround yourself with great people, because it's so powerful. And I'm so grateful to these two because they kind of nudged me along, and they, flipped something. Because I was talking earlier that night, I was telling them why I was, worked so hard with my amazing team to hit the top rank in our company. And I was sharing with them part of the reason I was so inspired to do it is because I just wanted to encourage other people that they could do it too. You could set a goal, you can get a community together, you can work towards something together. And I really wanted to kind of let people see that you can be you can be a minority, you can be a woman, you can be single, you can be all these different things, and you just make a decision and go for it. And again, I'm so grateful to my team that helped, because we all worked together and I was able to hit the top rank in the company. And so when we were talking about this book idea, they kind of flipped it back, that it, writing a book really isn't about me, it's about the people that it can help and encourage. And when they said it like that, that actually kind of lit a fire in me in the way that I was like, well, I do want to create something, and if a book's the format to do that in, then I'm open to it. However, it had to do two things. I knew that right away. I was like, well, it has to help people. And then I have to be inspired by the theme of the book, because I know myself, if I want to be inspired by something, I will get behind it and I'll go for it all in. And so that was where I was like, okay, well, it has to do those two things. And what are those, how, I didn't have necessarily right away that idea. I kind of simmered on it that night and I started jotting notes down. And then I thought, you know what? I have an idea kind of popped in my head, because earlier, or actually the month before, I was inducted into the Quilton Sports Hall of Fame. And in that interview, we did an interview process before, and the interviewer was asking me, what is sport giving me? And I shared a lot of the life lessons that I've gained from sports, and the successes in terms of national championships and player of the year and different highlights that I've had. And I said, also, the only reason though I've been able to have those successes is because of all the tough stuff that I've gone through in sport. Not making a team, sitting on the bench, getting minimal minutes on, injuries, coming back from injuries. There was a lot of other tough stuff. And because I would push through those tough things is the reason I was able to have some of those highlights. And so when I was jotting notes that night, kind of brainstorming and simmering out the idea, it really all came together, where I was like, well, you know what, I want to write a book that's going to share a little bit of the tough stuff and let people see that everybody has challenges, everybody goes through rough moments, and everyone's moments of what they consider rough can be different, and how did they push through it. And so I was kind of had the idea. And then I remember hearing the saying, never quit on a bad day, many, many years before. And then I was like, well, let's do this. And I always do this thing with God. I call it like my open the door, close the door. And so I said, I'm like, okay, God, open the door. If the domain name never quit on a bad day is available, then I know that that's a sign you're saying move in this direction. If it's not available, then, I'll reframe, we'll sit with it, kind of pause and think of another idea. And so I came home and the next day I put it in and it was available. So I bought it and I still was like, okay, I'm going to simmer with it. But the more I started jotting down notes, just ideas were coming and the vision was just clear in terms of moving forward in this direction to create books. And now it's going to be a series, and I have a big vision for just to share that motto and that mantra with people, because I truly believe like there's so much magic that can happen in people's lives when we push through those tough days and keep going.
Exactly. The name of your book, Never Quit in a Bad Day, I think that's there's on page 15, I love that you're quoting someone that says life begins at the edge of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah, I loved that. I'm even, here you go. I yesterday I did a post and I read a little part of when your chapter 4 is yours. And yes, I think when you go through very, very difficult and challenging situations, it's when your character is really defined. Unless you get to that point when you see that this is the time, this is the moment that I have to take that leap of faith, that I have to trust myself, that I have to trust the process, then that's the moment that I have to make that jump. And you did it, Phoebe. And you said, okay, I will, and you're sharing that. And you're also sharing in your book, you're sharing, or people that you invited, leaders in our community or during your life trainers, or you share this person's experiences, and it's like meant for everyone, because you can connect, you can relate to all these different stories, to young people, older people, people that started their life a little bit later or a little bit before, together, the siblings you interviewed. And then you have these videos, so it's really touching, because then you can read a book and then you have this QR code that you can jump into the videos and you can listen to the person who wrote that. For example, David and Roxanne, how they share their story. They were really low in the lowest moment of their life, and just a couple of years later, yeah, you are today, and very respected persons you are. Could you share with us a little bit about one of your challenges, why you wrote or that have marked your life, and how you made this decision to be in this kind of business models, in a way you made that decision, and how did it impact it into your life?
Yes, absolutely. So it's interesting because I had always, my mom stayed home with my brother and I growing up, and she had a home business. And so it was always something in the back of my mind that I wanted to have an opportunity that I could work from home. However, I didn't know what that would look like. It was just something in my head where I was always like, I want to have my own business where I can decide when I go to work. I can choose, the options. Right. And so that was always in my head. And I had just kind of like, I was the friend who, whenever someone had something, I would go, whether it was a traditional business, a grand opening, I'd be there. If it was a home business and they were having an event, I would go there, and just to support and learn, right, and be open to that. And so when I found out about my current network marketing company, it was interesting because I was working full time at a computer company. I had started some side projects. I wasn't very inspired at my current job, or my job, sorry, back then. And so I was just looking and I was open. And so I started a coaching company for soccer with a teammate of mine, and we teach kids how to play soccer. And that was fun. And then I started reading, and I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I learned about passive income. And I was like, oh, I want to earn some passive residual income. And for those of you watching, if you're not familiar with that term, it's passive income is you work once and you can get paid over and over again for the work you did one time. And so that really, the light bulb moment, and I wanted to create that. And so I started learning how to invest in real estate. And so I was doing some investing. And then I found out about this current network marketing company, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the idea of it, mostly because I wanted to use it in terms of my other business with the coaching. And then, I was working, and what I loved about my job back then was I could, in the pockets of my day, I'd finish a project at work and I'd go tell my boss I'm done, and he'd be like, okay, go to your office and I'll tell you what to do next. And a lot of times he would get lost in other things, and he'd just be like, figure something out and they'll come find you. And so then I just would work on my side projects while I was there. And then unfortunately one day he came into the office and he told me that the company was going bankrupt and everyone was being laid off. And so in that moment, it was like, okay, there's different emotions, once that kind of the shock wore off, it was like, okay, great, I don't have to go back to work. And then it was also, oh my gosh, what next? Right? Bills to pay, and I had been dabbling in these other things, but really my full-time job was my income source. And so I had a little bit of income coming in terms of my coaching when I was doing it, but it was something that was very active, and the real estate investing, it was purchasing properties, getting them up. And so when I paused and I looked at like, what do I want to do next? And I really thought about, what do I want my future to look like? I really looked forward into, what do I want my future to look like? Because I knew whatever I decided right then, like that, you could take me closer to it or in a different direction. And I thought, you know what, I want to have control of my time. And so I jumped in with my network marketing company, and I was already using it more of a product, but then I went, okay, let's build this as a business. And so I'm grateful for it, because there has been a lot of, bumps in the road and challenging times. And one of the things with this business, I remember hearing the saying very early on, you take care of business when things are good. So when things are bad, your business takes care of you. And so that always stuck with me. And so I'm grateful for this profession, because it has created incredible opportunities and the lifestyle, and just being able to have control of time.
Yeah, definitely. You're your own boss. Nobody tells you if you're fired or not. If the
No,
company,
but you should. Sometimes you know what, you say that, and it's interesting though, because there isn't anyone who tells you if you should be fired or not, but except us. And that's something where it's a
yeah,
reality where you need to look in the mirror, because if you're not doing the activities, then maybe you should fire yourself, rehire yourself, check
yes,
yourself, and be like,
but
hey,
it's your decision.
absolutely, absolutely. It's your decision. It
Yeah.
comes down to you, right? You have to lead yourself first before you're going to be able to lead a team.
Yeah, something that Ray was not on the convention, but some other time that I was listening to him. I mean, who knows you better than yourself to assign you a price, to assign your
Mhm.
salary? You know, Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a career. I have a couple of master's degrees, and today it's very difficult to find the job that I am really searching for. And everybody's telling me how much I really am worth, you
Mhm.
know? And it's like, okay, you don't know me. I mean, who are you to tell me I mean, what my price is, you know? So in this project, in this net, and in this business model, you assign that price to yourself. It depends on your effort, on your results, how much worth you are. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I know how it is. I have written here a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you on Precise. Why did you choose this business model in Precise? This one, where we are here.
Where we are right now? Well, I chose it. I mean, as I mentioned, I fell in love with the product. I really did. I loved the product and the opportunity. And I love working as a team. And one of the things that I think is brilliant in terms of this business model is it is team focused. You get a chance to work with incredible people who are, they say yes to more in life, and whatever that more looks like for them, because people join this business for all different reasons, and it's important to let people shine in whatever capacity that looks like for them. And I really fell in love with it because I saw it as something I could do anywhere. I love to travel, so it was something, a model where I knew, as long as I have an internet connection and a phone or a computer, whichever, I could build this business. I can be on the beaches of Barbados and I can still build my business if I choose to, or be somewhere else. I love the fact that, as you just said, you get to decide, what is your income going to look like? You have a choice to make. We get to choose that, and then we go to work based on what we want to create. I love the fact that you have an opportunity to choose your own hours, right? In terms of your schedule, you can decide, are you a morning person? Do you want to work really early in the morning? Do you work a full-time job and you can work it in bits of your day? Do you, late at night, you can choose what time you put into it and when. So having control of that schedule. And then the income potential, the fact that you can generate income online that continues to come in, whether you go to work or not, is a beautiful thing. You have to go to work. It is a business. So it does take work. You have to put that time in. And in the beginning, you're going to put a lot of time in and you may not see the results right away, but it is, they use the analogy of like growing a plant or a tree, right? In the beginning, you have to just keep watering. You have to keep nurturing it, right? You have to do those activities that are going to help your business grow and you will see the results. It may not come in the timeline that you want it to. That was me. It was like, I want it now, now, now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't come that way, but you have to trust the process. You have to trust the system behind it and you put in that work and then being able to have that income that continues to come in is a powerful thing because it does allow you to, we talk about never quit on a bad day. There are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be challenges. And again, having that income come in without you necessarily over time having to be the one doing all the work. Now you have a team that you're working together to create this income can just provide you that time when you need it the most.
Yes. Yes. Teamwork. That's one of the things that I have felt so deeply here because, for example, you can find your own accountability groups.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very strong platform where we can connect with anyone in the business. We're a community of 170,000 people, and you just right there, and then people can connect with you. Right now, I have a group. We're 9 women working all together, and we are completely independent one of each other, but we are connected to get to a goal together. We're not
Mm-hmm.
leaving anyone behind.
I
And
love
that's
it.
teamwork. That's teamwork. And sometimes we can have personal challenges, like one of our kids is sick or we have anything. And we are there for everyone. So this community is really based on trust. It's based on I want to see you succeed. And it doesn't matter that your success doesn't give me anything. It gives me the happiness to see you succeed. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're business partners, you and me. And you don't depend on my results and I don't depend on yours. And I will be very happy to see you succeed even further. And I'm sure you will be looking at me and saying, wow, Monica, you did it too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a beautiful thing, right? That community, and that's one of the things I love about the organization that you're associated with is because it is so community focused, and it's one
Yeah.
of those things where it's exciting to see other people shine for so many reasons. One, they set a goal and they went and did it. It's like cheer that person on, and also it is that reminder that you can do it too, right?
Right.
Someone set a goal, they went for it, they hit it. Cheer them on, and let that also be kind of a bit of a role model to you and to me to go, well, they did it, I can keep going as well too, and use those success stories because it is inspiring. And I love that you guys are coming together as a smaller group because that's one of the things when you're a part of a large community, it's beautiful and that's part something you want to be a part of. And also find your own little group in there as well that you can cheer each other on and have that personal connection to support and encourage and just to rally around each other's goals.
Yes, and having this constant training, no? I mean, when we have this trainings every week, thousands of people are connecting. And then
Hmm.
later on, for example, I jump from that one to our little community or different little communities that I have. And then we set goals and say, okay, we learned this today, so let's go and try this, or let's do this challenge. Like right now, we have a couple of challenges going on in the business, and so it's very encouraging to see that sometimes you feel down, say, oh no, this is not for me, and then you see that your partner tells you, oh God, I hate this and this, and oh no, wait a second, I can also do this. So
Absolutely.
it's encouraging, it's exciting to see others succeed. It's just so nice. And let me hear. I have the question, like being an athlete, coach, entrepreneur, why would you recommend this type of opportunity to people? And the second part of the question is this for everyone? That's something very important because I need your answer there, please.
So why would I recommend this let's do the other question first. Is this business model for everyone? Yes and no. I do believe it is for everyone, and that's a beautiful thing that anyone can get started in this business model, because it's open to everyone. Everyone can create success in it. Now, the reason I say yes and no is because it is a business model that you have to have the drive. You have to want it, right? At the end of the day, it is a business model like any business. You have to. It's something you're choosing to participate in. You don't have to. It's a choice. It's a great choice, and I'll explain why I think it's a great choice as well too. That being said, it really comes down to what does that person want, and this business model can provide a lot of incredible things. You're getting access to an incredible network of like-minded, success-oriented people who have dreams, people who have goals. I think that in itself is the reason why everyone should get started, just to be around that type of positivity and the personal development. A lot of times there's a lot of personal development that is tied to building an online business, and that's a beautiful thing, regardless of the success that you have from a financial standpoint. That's another thing, but just even the personal development, that just helps you in life in all areas, communicating with your family and your friends, and setting those goals and going after them. So the community piece is such a big piece of what you get out of it. Again, the personal development, the skill set, the fact that you have an incredible resource of training that's at your fingertips that you can plug into, I think is incredible. And then obviously, yes, the opportunity that you can create an extra stream of income. It might just be a little bit of extra money to pay for sports, or taking your family on a vacation and paying off whatever you want to pay and use that money for. It might be a little bit, or it might be a lot, and you might transition it into that's what you do for your as a business, and that's your full-time focus, right? So there are a lot of opportunities, and I believe that anyone can get started at any level. And that's why I do think it's a great opportunity for people to be involved in, because you have that opportunity to create whatever you want to create out of it. You just have to you have to get started, right? So that's part of it, is just saying yes. And when you're saying yes to an opportunity, I'd like to say you're saying yes to your dreams and your goals, because it is a vehicle that can take you to those places, right? It's not necessarily that it is a vehicle to take you to wherever you want it to go, and you just have to determine where do you want it to go. So I think it's fabulous for people, because you can get started with, again, you need a computer, a willing heart, and an open mind to get to go to work, right? You can get started at any point in time. You can carve out your own schedule. As I said before, some of the things I love about it, if you have a 9 to 5, you can work at your business before or after. You have your choices in terms of your time, so people can carve out time in their schedule as it works for them.
Yes, yes. It needs hard work. It needs patience. It needs persistence. It needs resilience. You have to be prepared for the no's. Go for no's.
Absolutely.
Yes, because you will have more no's than yes, and there will be too many people that are going to be skeptical, as maybe many of us were at the beginning. And for sure, there are always in life more bumps than ups. But if you are prepared for that, I mean, for example, my kids, they kept asking me, teenagers are my kids, Mama, I don't understand this. I mean, why do you need, for example, so much time? And why do you need money for this? And I was explaining them. I mean, I cannot talk about specific brands, but you can think about a cafeteria where they open from at one specific time. You have to show up. You have to open, and you have to close, and you have to have everything clean, and you have to be smiling at people, and that means work. That means a commitment. That means persistence. That means focus. So yes, it's not for everyone. If we think that money is going to fall from trees, no, you have to work hard. You have to commit. You have to show up. You have to do this. You have to plan it on time. You have to be on time. You have to invite people that give you something, a value for people. And you have to feel also committed with people that you invite. That you have to open your heart to those people that you really want to help, that you really want to invite, and show them that it is possible to do this, that you can do it if you really want to do it, if you have the will, you're strong, your way it's strong enough to do this, to start this, and to continue this, and not to fall at the first bump, but get stronger. Like you said, never quit on a bad day. You cannot do this. If I failed, I can remember my daughter's 6-0, 6-0, and won straight away, and next match against the same person, and 6-0 the other time, the other way. Like, okay, this was excellent. They said, how did I play? You played better than last time. So you are not supposed to quit, you know?
Mhm,
So
mhm. And
you
you also, two other things I want to add to everything that you just said. The commitment is spot on. You do have to have that. The two other things though is belief and vision. And one of the things that I really that just stood out to me so much in writing this book and the stories that were shared is the leaders in this book, they had vision for what they wanted to create. And I truly believe when you have vision for your future and where you're headed, then when those bumps come in the road, which they will, it
yes,
allows you to push through because you know where you're headed. And that was something actually I just created a workbook that I'm really excited about as well too, because it's about creating that vision, because it's so important for people, whether you get involved in an online business, whether you work a 9 to 5, whatever it is, that you have a vision for where you're headed. Because as those bumps happen, and we know they will, I like to say I use my dream day as that lighthouse to kind of navigate those dark waters sometimes when they hit, and it's like, oh, I'm frustrated. Well, where am I headed? I know where I'm headed. So let me get back on and keep going and keep moving forward. So vision's a big one. And then also belief. And sometimes in the beginning, I know belief can be hard, and sometimes you need to borrow it from someone else. And that's why, as we talked about that community, having those stories and working together, sometimes you need to borrow the belief from someone else. Sometimes you need to borrow the belief from one of your leaders and see, okay, well, they did it. They believe in me that I can do it. I'm going to borrow that belief. I'm going to put it on like it's a jacket, and I'm going
yes,
to move forward with that posture and confidence that I can do this too, because they've done it. They believe I can do it. Let's go forward. So those are two things that I do want to add, that to create
definitely.
success is very important. Have your vision of what you're creating, and also because people want to join someone who has a vision for what they're creating. And the beautiful thing, as a community, you have the greater vision, but also it's important to you for you to have your own vision of what you're creating as well too. People want to join a community as someone who has a vision, someone who has a purpose, someone where they know where they're headed, right? As well.
Yes, yes, definitely. You know who inspired me a lot? Maybe it was the second time I was jumping into all these webinars that we have. I could see Debbie inside live, you know, and she was so amazing. So
Mm,
amazing, a person who had this difficult times several times, and each time she stood up again and again and again and got stronger. Each time she got stronger. And now I met her, it was like I had met her for my entire life. She lives now in Mexico, and it was so funny. But I will upload that post eventually, because she said, "I'm the Canadian who's living in Mexico, and this is the Mexican living in Canada." You know, that was her dream.
mm,
And I mean, she's grandmother, she's grandmother, and she's still doing this. As it doesn't matter the age you have. You have to believe in yourself. And she envisioned that, as you said. She told me, it is on the video. She told me, I envisioned that in 2018. I wanted to move to Playa del Carmen in Mexico. And today she lives there.
It's powerful. It is so powerful
Yes.
writing that down. And, I say when I did my dream day, I was nowhere near living that dream day. It was so far away, because this is many, many years ago. And I've continue that process. I'm actually going to redo my vision as well for my dream day. And so I'm going through the workbook and writing it down and building that upon that. And so it's something that when you have this vision in your mind, put the pen to paper, right? Ask yourself those questions, get into the feeling of living that dream day. And there's so much power in that. And you just keep moving forward, keep doing things that are going to take you towards living that dream day. And it's such an incredible feeling when you start living moments of that. And I'm sure for like for her to be like, I thought about this. I thought about it. I believed it. I knew I could make it happen. I did the work to get there. And now here I am. It's an incredible
Yes.
feeling.
Yes. When you do something, sometimes we have all these ideas, okay? And you say, someone that is not here in this business, and as you and me, and we have a lot of ideas, and say, okay, I will do this and I will do that. And you're full of ideas, but you don't have a structure. Something that helped me so much is the training we have here, step by step. You are also meant to do this, a vision board, and say, or
Mhm.
dream board. And you say, okay, once I have it, and I look at it, and it's like, I really want to achieve that. I really want this and that and that. I mean, everyone has different dreams, but I know what my dreams are. But now that I have them, and I did it exactly how the training told me to do it. It's like Okay, this is fantastic. Now, when we are in our accountability group, when we were sharing our dream board, it was like, oh my God. I mean, I'm not the only one who's dreaming so far, so deeply in my beliefs and for my family and for myself and for uh, whatever, because many of us have also dreams about helping a cause, whatever it is, disease or family back home or whatever. And we all have that in our dream board. And that's all contained in our training side. And it's just
Mhm.
following step by step. It's like, my God, it's everything in there. I did this master's. It was an MBA, the last one. And I took digital marketing and I took marketing management. I took international marketing, e-commerce. It was like, oh my God, all this is in my training side. Was fascinated. Like, oh my God, I already know all this because it's contained in my training site. And it's so easy because it's like step one, step two, step three. So everyone can do it if you are
Absolutely.
committed, if you're organized, and you don't skip anything. I mean, you have to follow it and you get to that point. But yes, as you said, it's not for everyone. You are meant to work hard. You are meant
Mhm.
to be committed. You are meant to show up and organize this kind of things that take you time. I
Yes,
mean, yeah,
absolutely. And it is in a sense too, one of the things that I love about the portal and all the training that your team provides in the community is I like to bake. And I always tell people the reason I like to bake is I just follow a recipe. If I follow that recipe, I'll get the result. If I start substituting, you know what? It doesn't really need sugar. I'm going to do salt instead of sugar. Cup of sugar, cup of salt. Well, now it's not going to be the same result. And so when you have a proven system, I always say, I heard this saying too, success leaves clues. So when you see people in your community who have created success, and the beautiful thing about it is they've laid out what they've done. They've created it in this portal and said, hey, just plug into this. Well, it is like baking. Just follow that recipe of what they're saying to do, be committed to the long haul, have your vision, have the belief or borrow the belief, and just do the steps and you will create it. It does take time though, just
yeah,
like planting a tree or, plant or whatever. It does take time and you have to have that patience and that persistence and that urgency with a sense of being patient as well too, right? So do the stuff you need to do with urgency and then let the time add to it so that you get that result and that masterpiece and whatever you want to create and enjoy the process, right? Enjoy the journey.
yes.
That's another piece that I think is really important. Celebrate those milestones along the way, enjoy the journey. And that's why the personal development is so powerful. It's the person that you're becoming in building this
Mhm.
business. And that's why I say it is for everybody because of the personal development side. And just that alone is worth being part of a community.
Yes, yes, yes. I think there's a positiveness in this community. We try to focus on positive, positive, positive,
Mhm.
and if we share sometimes this success stories from other people in our pages, it's because they are so inspirational. There are stories that are heartbreaking, and at the end you say, "Wow, he did it, or she did it, or they did it." It's like,
Mhm.
wow. So let me see when. Yes, that's an interesting question. What are your next plans related to your writing skills? Could you please share them with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I do have, well, here, okay, so we have Never Quit on a Bad Day, right? Inspiring Story of Resilience, which is the book that you have and read. And thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And then, as I mentioned, I actually just released a workbook. So, in Never Quit on a Bad Day, which you shared, is at the end of every chapter, just for those watching, there is a QR code that you can scan the QR code and there's a video. And in that video, it's a short video of encouragement by the contributor. And what was beautiful about it is I just said, share what's ever on your heart. And all the contributors' videos are so different. And in my video, I share about an activity that was transformational, which I talked about briefly, called your dream day. And so one of the things that I did is I actually created a workbook. And so this is Never Quit on a Bad Day, a guided workbook for creating good days. And in it, there's 4 activities and then a warm up. And so it's kind of it's a dream building journal, if you will. And so it's
Yeah.
all about the person filling it in. There's questions to prompt you in terms of helping you create your dream day and thinking about your dream day in different categories because it's important. It's not just, it's like, how do you feel on your dream day? What activities do you enjoy?
Mhm.
Who do you enjoy it with? And so
Mhm.
this, I'm really excited about. This is out now. And then I'm already starting to work on the next book in the Inspiring Stories of Resilience series. So just starting that one, which I'm really excited about as well too. And so, yeah, it's been fun. So that'll come out sometime next year and just continuing on in the process and learning and growing myself and just helping people along the way as well too.
You're amazing. You never stop, girl.
Thank you. It's fun. You know what? This is the thing. It inspires me. Like just in creating the first book and then even the workbook, it was so inspiring to me that it encouraged me along the way as well too. And so that's my goal with it, is just to help people be encouraged and just remember, right? Again, there are going to be those bumps in the roads. It's just continuing to push through, and that's where your true character comes out, and that's how you grow, is through those challenging times and how we respond to them. So I'm excited about the next book as well too, and just continuing to get this book out there and let people, learn a little bit more and be
Yes.
inspired.
Yes, I really, really recommend to read it. I really got inspired by all these stories. I was so fortunate to know a couple of them, of the people you invited. Of course, knowing you and hearing your story, and well, it's really inspirational. And it's not only that, it pushes you to take action. That's something that not every book does, and you invite the reader to take action, to see, okay, this is what I have to do. And then having this workbook is just amazing, because it's just putting everything where it belongs. So, oh, for sure, we will be following you, Phoebe. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that's amazing. And whoever, those who are watching and don't know about this business, it's important to see, to inform you that we have a weekly or bi-weekly webinar. It's for free. You just have to sign in there. I don't know if you want to share this with the community.
Sorry, share which. Go ahead. Yeah, tell a little bit more of how people, if they're looking for something, how they can learn more. Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. You just have to. I mean, there we have links. You just either you click on that link, or you can send a message, and you just have to register yourself, put in your name, your email, and you get a link directly from our system. It's an automated system, and you can watch a free webinar. It's 90 minutes webinar. I mean, if you're really looking into something serious, 90 minutes is nothing in your life. You can watch it, and you can hear stories, and yeah, from many other people that are in this business. You can watch it how many times you want. There are people who watched it several times until they took action. There are people who said, okay, this is not for me, it's okay. And there are people by the first time they said, oh yes, this is meant for me. That's what happened to me. It's still skeptical at the beginning, but then when I met my coach, and then we have coaches, we have mentors, it was like, oh, okay, this is for me, so it might be for you too.
Absolutely. And I just encourage people, like, if you have on your heart that you want to change something different, you have those goals, you have those dreams, and what you're doing right now isn't taking you closer to it, it is something worth exploring. Again, people are always like, well, what if it doesn't work? And the question back is like, well, what if it does? What if
Yeah.
it does? So be open to just taking a look and exploring the opportunity. And then you can see from there, you can make an informed decision. At least you're making a decision from a place of, what you're saying no to or what you're saying yes to.
Yes, definitely, definitely. That I like that. Thank you so much, Phoebe. Thank you so much. That was just an amazing interview. There are a lot of people, because of the timing, they are working. Many of my viewers are working right now, but they want to see you. They were asking and asking, when is it gonna be? When is it gonna be? I want to listen to Phoebe. So, Phoebe, you're amazing. Thank you so much. You're a beautiful person inside and outside. And I am so sure we will be watching you succeed even further, much further. If you hit top rank, you will be hitting rank after rank. I'm sure of that. You're so committed and so focused and so determined. And just read chapter 4 in her book, and then you will see her story. She never stops. This is a girl that you will have to follow.
Thank you so much, Monica. Well, I appreciate you inviting me on. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm excited for you. Just keep moving forward, and all you're doing inspire just by taking action. So congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to cheering you on as well. And thank you to everyone who watches. And just we appreciate you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. Bye bye.